Hi friends, the topic is sorting the array elements in ascending order. The code goes here. There are many sorting algorithms, but this is the most simplest one. Let us try to understand the code in fragments. This is the first fragment, and as we can see, first it asks the user for number of elements. It stores the value in n. Next, it asks the user to enter the array elements, and that is stored in a in array ARR_num. This is the second fragment and the most important fragment as it does the sorting. Let us try to understand this by taking an example. Let us assume that n is equal to 5 and these are the elements that we have entered. Okay. So the fragment says that I is initialized to 0. I is 0. Is this I less than n minus 1? Here n is 5. Is it less than 4? Yes, definitely. So it enters a loop. Next, j is equal to I plus 1. That is j is equal to 0 plus 1. That is 1. Is it less than n? Yes, it's less than n. Therefore, it enters. Now it checks if arr of 0 is greater than arr of 1. Now instead of calling the array as ARR_num, I'll simply call it as arr. We check if arr of 0 is greater than arr of 1. That is, if 23 is greater than 45. If yes, then we swap. But here 23 is smaller, so no swapping is done. Next, we increment j. J now becomes 2. Does it satisfy the condition? Yes, it satisfies. So it enters the loop. It checks if arr of 0 is greater than arr of 2. That is, if 23 is greater than 12. If yes, then it swaps. Here 23 is greater, so swapping is done. And therefore 12 will go up and 23 will come down. Next, we increment j. J is now equal to 3 and we check if arr of 0 is greater than arr of 3. That is, if 12 is greater than 85. Here 12 is smaller, so no swapping is done. Next, increment j. J becomes 4. Now we check if arr of 0 is greater than arr of 4. That is, if 12 is greater than 19, here 12 is smaller, so no swap. Next, increment j. J becomes 5. Here, j is not less than 5, so it won't enter the loop and the outer loop is incremented. Now, I becomes 0 plus 1, that is 1. J becomes I plus 1, that is 2. Okay. Next, we check if arr of 1 is greater than arr of 2. That is, if 45 is greater than 23. Here 45 is greater, so swap. So 23 goes up and 45 comes down. Next, increment j. J becomes 3. We check if arr of 1 is greater than arr of 3. That is, if 23 is greater than 85. Here 23 is smaller, so no swapping. Increment j. J becomes 4. Now we check 23 and 19. Here 23 is greater than 19, so we swap. So 19 goes up and 23 comes down. Next, we increment the value of j. J is 5. Okay, so it won't enter the loop and the outer loop is incremented and I now becomes 2. J becomes I plus 1, that is 3. We check if arr of 2 is greater than arr of 3. That is, if 45 is greater than 85. Here it is not, so no swapping is needed. Next, increment j. J becomes 4. If we check if arr of 2 is greater than arr of 4, that is, if 45 is greater than 23, yes, so we swap. So 23 goes up and 45 comes down. Increment j. J is equal to 5. so it won't enter the loop, and the outer loop is incremented. So now I becomes 3, j becomes I plus 1, that is 4, and we check if error of 3 is greater than error of 4, that is if 85 is greater than 45, here 85 is greater, so we swap the values, that is 45 goes up and 85 comes down. Okay, increment j is 5, so it won't enter the loop, outer loop is incremented. Now outer loop, the value of I becomes 4, here n is equal to 5, so I is not less than 5 minus 1, that is I is not less than 4, so it won't enter the loop and it will come out. Okay, now we shall see these 3 lines of code. Okay, this is by the end of the program, or by the end of the fragment, this is the sorted array that we get. Okay, and this code is for swapping. Okay, what we do is, let us take a simple example and understand these lines of code. Here we have just assigned value of 5 to A and 10 to B, that is A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 10. Now what we do is, we are actually going to swap using a temporary variable. So we will be assigning the value of A to temp, that is 5 would be assigned to temp. Next, A is equal to B, that is 10 would be assigned to A. Next, temp is equal to B, that is 5 would be assigned to B. Okay, and at the end we get A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 5. In the second line, the value of B is assigned to A. So value of A is overwritten here. Therefore, we need to store its value in temp variable so that in the third line we can assign it to B. This is swapping using a temporary variable. And the third fragment of the code is actually just printing of the sorted array. That's it. Thank you.